All right, good evening. We'd like to welcome you to the Elmore County Commission work session dated Monday, December 11, 2017. I'll call the meeting to order. We'd like to begin with a special item. We have the opportunity to welcome some students from here in Elmore County, brought here by Ms. Katrina Mitchell from the County Extension Office. And I'm going to give these students an opportunity to please stand up. These are students part of the Youth Leadership Elmore County. So what we're going to do, we'll start over here, and if you would tell us your name and what school you go to and what grade you're in. All right. Okay. All right. Fantastic. Y'all can go ahead and be seated. We appreciate you being here tonight and participating in your local government. If two of you would stand, those who are related to a county commissioner or a county administrator, go ahead and stand up there. All right, so for you two, there will be a quiz later on everything that happens at this meeting tonight. All right, again, thank you for being here. We appreciate the Extension Office and their efforts in helping these young people with their leadership opportunities and service. I do a lot of community service, and being here tonight to participate in this meeting. All right. Okay, we will proceed now with our regular business, review of the minutes of the November 27, 2017 Commission meeting. If there are any notes or corrections from any commissioners regarding the minutes. Review of the memorandum of warrants for the period of November 18, 2017 through December 4, 2017. Mr. Byer.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, the memorandum warrants for that stated period is $1,051,073.98.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Okay, we will proceed now with public hearing 020 Restaurant Retail Liquor License Application by El Patron Mexican Grill, LLC for El Patron Mexican Grill, 65 Lightwood Road, Deatsville, Alabama, 36022. And by way of introduction, this liquor license application has been completed and been submitted or published in the local paper by requirement. And now we're to the point where we, as a county commission, hold a public hearing with the opportunity to hear from citizens either for or against the issuance of this requested liquor license. So the way we would like to do this, I see we have a lot of people here tonight, and we appreciate all of you being here and participating in local government. What we will do, this podium here, there is a light on the microphone, so we will begin with those who are for or who would like to see the liquor license approved. If you'll come in an orderly fashion, you can come up to this podium here, and when you do, if you would introduce yourself and give us your address on where you live so that we can have that noted. And then we would like to keep any comments, either for or against, limited to 3 minutes per individual who comes up here. If you come up after someone else and you're saying the exact same thing, we would appreciate, you're welcome to come up. You can just say that you agree with the person before you, and if you have anything else you'd like to add, you're welcome to do that. We do ask that those in the audience, when someone is coming up and addressing this issue either for or against, please keep your comments to yourself in the audience. We want to keep this professional, and we want to make sure that all the county commissioners have all their questions answered. and we're able to do what's best for the county of Elmore. So anyone who would like to come up, please come forward.
Good afternoon. I'm Annette Devon. I'm the owner of the building where his Rigo has applied for a license. I live right, there's not much more than this table's room between where I live and the restaurant. He's been there close to 4 years now. Never had a day's problem out of anything or anybody over there. You know, it's a very smooth run business. He's made some changes that were concerns. We've addressed some concerns that were there last time, such as parking. We have 31 parking places in all because the pharmacy has allowed us to use their parking facilities after 6 o'clock when they close. And Keith Hawley has allowed parking right by the fence next to it. So therefore that gives us, with the 3 that's at my house, that gives us plenty, because I can just go around back. It's not a big deal. So that gives us plenty of parking places. We've also drawn up papers and put them on the windows asking them, for anybody that's going to participate in being in the restaurant, to please not park in the church's parking lot, because that was was an issue before. So we have those posted, and I have pictures of them. I don't know if y'all got all these or not. The pictures where we posted them on the doors. Also, they've put up petitions between the booths to give privacy. If somebody comes in with a child and somebody's sitting over here and has a drink, they don't see it. One thing that I will not put up with, that I can tell you right now, is if there's anybody over there that's rowdy, it wouldn't last very long, because I'm right in the yard, and I put up with so much mess from the store at the end where all the kids hang out and drink and party, and I hear every bit of it, because it's just right there. So we don't want anything like that. We want everybody to be peaceful and to get along and enjoy whatever you can. And if you need to see any of these pictures or anything, I'll be glad to share them.
If you'll give them to Kimberly there.
Okay.
And Ms. Devon, I know you said that you live right around the corner, but what is your...
No, I don't live around the corner.
What is your physical address where you live?
75 Lightwood Road, and the restaurant's 67.
Okay. All right. Any commissioners have any questions for Ms. Devon? All right. Thank you. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm John Hazel. I'm also the constable in Slap Out. This time I'm going to speak in favor of the license. Back in 2014, I stood here and spoke against it, and a number of other folks spoke against it. But at that time, Digger's Bar down in Caesarville had just been granted a liquor license maybe 2 or 3 weeks previous to that. And also, the Mexican restaurant had not yet opened. So we didn't really know what kind of neighbors they were going to be, what kind of tenants or customers they were going to have coming around. So it seemed like if we gave them a liquor license, and we'd already given the Diggers a license, it seemed like we were passing out licenses willy-nilly. So I was opposed to it for those reasons. But the thing is now, the restaurant has never posed a problem. There's never been any trouble there that I've been informed of, and I'm sure as constable, I'd know about it. People tell me about it. And it's a popular eating place. It's been well received. And as I say, there's been no trouble there. And to put El Patron on an even keel with the other Mexican restaurants in Elmore County, I think they really do need to have the liquor license. People don't go to Mexican restaurants just to drink. They go there primarily to eat, and then they might get a margarita or something, but it's not like a bar. It's not like Diggers. So you don't get people going in there drinking up a storm or anything like that. So for these reasons, I think now the time has come that it would be the fairest thing to do to go ahead and allow them to have the license. So any questions from anybody?
Can you state your address?
1625 Blackberry Road.
Commissioners have any questions?
How long have you been constable up there?
I've been constable since 2001.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Mr. Hazel.
Okay, thank you,
appreciate it.
gentlemen.
Anyone else?
Hey, how are y'all today? I'm here on behalf of the restaurant, El Patron. I've been,
Go ahead and state your name.
my name is Juan Acosta.
Juan Acosta?
Yes, sir. I've been working with, the guys from El Patron. I met Rico at El Patron. I work at El Patron in Prattville, Alabama. I met him there. He opened up his own restaurant in, Slap Out, Alabama. I know he's very family orientated. I know that he always keeps everything. The way he taught me in El Patron is control the customers, make sure nobody leaves out of here drunk, make sure nobody leaves out of here with, any problems. So I know that if you give him an opportunity to have a liquor license, I know he's going to be very careful about it. I know that he's a good man. From experience, I met him 5 years ago. He's a great guy, very family oriented, like I said, and all he's trying to do is just keep everything local. I keep hearing on the radio, like, buy local, come local. Like, I think it'd be a good idea for it to stay local, especially on a small town like Slap Out, Alabama. There's not anything else, and I just, really like y'all to reconsider that, because it's a great place to go out to eat. If you never checked it out, go check it out. As far as restaurants there's not many, and I know being that it's the only Mexican restaurant, I was thinking Slap Out was a small town, but I see that it's growing in size, so I know that Rico's a good guy, and we came here about 3 years ago, I think. We tried to fight for the liquor license, but denied, and I understand everybody's concerned, but I know, knowing Rico, I know he's going to take well care of anything that happens. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a question. As you know, there are those that oppose this issue as they did last time. Has there been an effort to address any of the concerns? I know we heard from Ms. Devon, and she stated there was additional parking spaces acquired in the last years, months, however long that's been, and there's some signage, I believe, that directs people to not park in the church parking lot. Have y'all met with the church to address these issues directly with them?
I know that was the issue last time, the parking spaces, being that it was a small lot. I know that they have been addressing that, and I don't know if at one point in time they was trying to get close to the church, see if they could come with an agreement as far as, I know they have church service and Wednesday service. I know last time they were like, they have Bible study and all of that. I know they were working to address a certain time, that way it won't interfere with nothing they have to do or anything like that. I know we have been addressing that, sir.
Okay, but have you here recently met with anyone with the church?
No, sir.
Okay.
Rico said he's met somebody at the church.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. And what is your address?
My address is 116 Audubon Village. I live in Wetumpka.
Okay. Thank you.
Sir. Thank you.
Go ahead. Yep. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in support of the liquor license? Okay, we will now open up the podium to anyone who would like to speak in opposition, in opposition of the liquor license. If you would come to the podium again, please state your name and your address, and we'll go for 3 minutes, and if any commissioners have any questions, we'll go from there, and then if there's anything else we need, we can address that. Yes, sir.
My name is Jack Barrett. I live at 467 Marina Road, Beachville, Alabama, and I'm a longtime member and trustee of Kings Chapel United Methodist Church. And I would like the council to know that we're not here as the United Methodist Church. We're here as concerned citizens of the community and concerned members of that church, Cain's Chapel. I do realize that they say they have controlled the parking, but there's no place to park in any of these places that Mr. Vaughn was bringing up for anything with a trailer on it. We have boats, we have pontoon boats, bass boats, business people park in our parking lot because they cannot get around in any of these places to turn around. Now, as you know and I know, they put state troopers on the lakes now, and so there are people who will probably be drinking somewhere on the lake, you know, and they may come in and state that they're here to eat, but we don't have any way to give them a sobriety test, and neither does El Patron. It's how much they've had to drink prior to getting there. We hope that once they eat a meal, they wouldn't be as bad off as they were to begin with, but we're a big and vibrant church. We're an outreach church. We have many programs such as food pantries and clothes closets, but one of our best things that we have is parking lots. We have large parking lots, and we share them with all the businesses around, including the El Patron restaurant. And we don't mind them using our parking lots from time to time. We just couldn't afford to have it with alcohol involved. Cain's Chapel pays over $7,000 every quarter for liability insurance. I don't know what will happen if alcohol comes in. If the risk goes up, we'll have to report it. If the risk goes up, then our price will go up. We are assured that we're not negligent to anything, but if the inevitable were to happen, you know good and well that any fine lawyer can come along and find something wrong that we didn't do and hold the church liable for it. We have a lot of things going on with the youth and people that don't belong, that are not members of our church. Our youth group, every Wednesday nights have close to about 30 kids, and they're not all ours. They're joining in to be part of a good place to, basically, if you want to call it, hang out, but they don't just hang out there. They do Bible lessons, and they sing, and they do the things that, you know. But we'd rather have them there, excuse me, than we had to have them out in on the streets and you know, and using drugs or anything. On every fifth quarter, which is every home football game, we host what's called the fifth quarter, and we have anywhere from 40 to 60 teenagers that come to our youth house for the fifth quarter celebration, and they stay there until nearly midnight. We close it down at midnight. It's well supervised, and it's good, clean fun for the kids. We would have trouble doing all of these things that we do with our worship studies and everything else that goes on at night. Many times we're 8 to 8:30 trying to close. We have just recently went through a community worship service that went on until 9:30 before we could even get the doors locked and halfway cleaned up.
Mr. Barrett, I'm going to have you pause right there and see if any commissioners have any questions, because we're trying to keep this where we have 3 minutes per person. So any commissioners have any questions regarding anything that he's addressed to this point?
I got a couple questions.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman. One is, why not post signage in your parking lot, Jack, saying that, you know, anybody that's not involved in the church activities will be towed away at the owner's expense? That's just one suggestion.
Well, what if some of our people wanted to leave their vehicle there and go to visit people in the hospital and leave their vehicle unattended, and maybe all day and part of the night? Are you going to tow their vehicle away? How do I know who they belong to?
That's still part of the church. The only other question I got is, you got the boy store, Piggly Wiggly. You got Dollar General, and you got the Marathon. Is that a Marathon? I get confused about what it is. They're selling alcohol on Sunday when you're in church, and those people are going to and from the lake. So to me, that would be a hazard to you guys as much as El Patron's would be.
It could be, but they're not drinking it on the premises. And that's a lot of difference. You see, on Wednesday night this El Patron is a chain, okay? It's a chain of restaurants. They're all supposed to have the same integrity, one with the other. They're saying they're going to change all these things to kind of accommodate us or whatever they want to do, but our schedule is not permanent. We don't know when we're going to have a funeral. We don't know a year ahead of time when we're going to have a wedding. Who's going to be doing a family reunion that night? Who's going to be doing Christmas parties right now? How late are all our other visitors coming to visit our church going to stay? You know, we Methodists like to eat a lot, so we're going to have dinner meals after we get through. So we're going to stay around and we're going to eat. And by the time we get through, you're talking about 8 or 9 o'clock. Now, how many people eat their dinner meal after 8:30, 9 o'clock? Not that many. So,
Any other questions from any
does it
commissioners?
lose the integrity of being a restaurant?
Yes, I have one. Mr. Barrett, I want to echo what you said about your church. You do have a great church. My family goes there. My family actually goes to Methodist Church in Millbrook, but my parents go there. My brother goes there, so I do know you have a great church and appreciate what y'all do for the community. But just ask you the same question that I asked of the El Patron representative. Have y'all met with El Patron here recently in the last month, 6 weeks, to try to work out the differences? Has there been any effort to do that?
None.
Okay, thank you. So you're not, okay. Thank
Okay.
you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Barrett. We appreciate it, and we'll have the next individual come up.
The only last comment I'd have is they're 26 feet from our parking lot to their parking lot.
Yes. Please state your name and your address.
Okay. My name is Susan Beeson, and my address is 1780 Blackberry Road. I am a retired United Methodist clergy, and I was the pastor at the time that we came before you all last time to discuss this issue. Right before I retired in June, a gentleman came over from El Patron to talk to me, and he said that they had separated their partnership with the El Patron in Prattville, and that he was just a man trying to make a living for his family. And I understood. My heart hurt for him. He said they were no longer dealing with lawyers because prior to this, after our meeting with you, there were lawyers who came. We did try and work out agreements. We looked at this every which way we could. But for us to put up signs that say no parking, that means we're then responsible for having cars towed and having someone out there patrolling the parking lot. We talked about trying to put up chains in our parking lot so that when we are not there, cars could not park. But again, a volunteer is going to have to be responsible to do that. We just could not come up with anything, an agreement that certainly met our needs. The lawyer tried to say, well, you don't have anything going on a Friday night, so we'll draw up an agreement that says we won't serve on Wednesday when you have Wednesday night supper, we won't serve on Tuesday when you've got scouts, but we can serve on Friday. But then again, that would tie us so that we could never have an event with kids on a Friday. And it just was not workable. For us as a small church and the expense that would be involved, and it's not the issue of alcohol per se. It is the close proximity to our property where children are. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I've been at a Mexican restaurant and had one small margarita. I would not want to be in a parking lot with children after just one, and I have not been overserved. I would not want that responsibility on my shoulders. We would love for that. We want that business to succeed. But I wish they would have come and talked to us beforehand so that we could have said, you know, we've got some issues here with patrons parking in our parking lot and you serving alcohol where we have children on the premise. So that really is our sticking issue, and we just could not come up with any workable solution. I did not meet with the gentleman who came up and said, is it Rico? Yes. Yeah, you were not the, were you the one who, you came over and talked to me? Yes, you did. And he was very kind, and we had a great discussion. And I told him, you know, my heart hurts for you. I want you to succeed. But it's still a safety issue that is on our shoulders when children and older adults are in our parking lot. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? If you have anything else to add beyond what has been stated, please come forward, state your name and your address, please.
My name's Steve George. I'm at 330 Beechwood Road in Wetumpka, but it's in Slap Out, actually.
Okay.
And I just have one concern, and that is the consumption of alcohol in such close proximity to our church. Contrary to what the constable said, he made the comment that never had any problems with the clientele of the restaurant. That may change when alcohol is consumed, and it doesn't take but one instance. And I'd hate for it to be a tragic instance. I'm just concerned about that.
Thank you, sir.
Tommy Beeson, 1780 Blackberry Road, husband of the, I guess that makes me the preacher's wife. Although I'm not anymore, she's retired and so am I. But we've lived in the area for the last 6 or 7 years now, and Hopeville is our home. Slap Out's our home. As was mentioned before, we're not opposed at all to the restaurant. We hope that they can be successful. The points that I wanted to make, though, was not to be contradictory, but the reference was made earlier by Mr. Holt that the boys' store is there and the girls' store is there, and they're not right next door to us. The boys' store is probably 100 yards at least away from where our parking lot is. The girls' store is closer, but we have the marina between us and them. So they're not adjacent selling alcohol to us. Human nature, and if you're honest with yourself, and I will be, I'm going to take the closest parking space to wherever I'm going. If I don't park in handicap spots, but beyond that, I'm going to take the closest space. That's our parking lot. Nothing physical has changed since the last time this body heard this issue and tabled it. Physically, everything is still the same. I appreciate Annette's efforts at getting permission to park in other places. They're further away than our parking lot. And so, human nature being what it is, I guarantee you drive by the restaurant or drive by the church on your way home tonight, which I will, there'll be a car or 2 or 3 parked in the church parking lot. It's just human nature. I appreciate the efforts of putting up the signs, asking people not to, but they have no control over where those people are going to park. And again, human nature says they're going to park in the closest location, regardless of what signs or anything like that are up. So I just wanted to point that out, and also to like I said, to correct the fact that we don't have alcohol being sold right next to our property. It's a distance away, at least a business away from where our parking lot, where our property is.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm Gary Stringfellow. I live at 9200 Holtville Road, Wetumpka, just within a mile of the church and the restaurant. I am the current pastor of Cain's Chapel. I appreciate this business. The owner's been very kind to me, has bought my lunch a couple of times, and I don't think he was doing that just to buy my vote. But he's very kind, and we appreciate him, and I love eating there. It's one of the best Mexican restaurants I've eaten in a long time. So we want him to succeed. But on behalf of the church, as the pastor, I want to say the majority of our church will be against this license because of the proximity. Within 26 feet of our parking lot is their parking lot. I mean, it's just the road right away. I mean, it's directly across from the entrance to our drive. And the fact is that patrons of the restaurant already use our parking lot, and we don't want to put up a sign that says, no, you're not welcome, because it makes us look unfriendly. We don't want that. But we're just concerned about our liability as a church when a business across the street is serving alcohol and they park in our lot. So that's the bottom line for us.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we appreciate everyone's participation, and we appreciate the attendance of all of you. Obviously, some of you have spoken, and others, I'm sure you have your own feelings about this, and we appreciate you being here tonight to witness your local government in action, and we appreciate the opportunity to hear from all of you. I guess now what I will do is, if any commissioners have anything that they would like to say in reflection of any of the comments that we've heard, we can do that now, and then we will move forward with the balance of our agenda.
Yeah, I would just like to say something. I understand your concern that you don't have a problem with the actual alcohol being sold. I understand that. But it seems to me the difference in what's taking place now, excuse me, and I looked and there was no opposition to the liquor license, the alcohol license that was issued for the Dollar General here in the last 3 years, I guess, Mr. Byer, I think is what I was told. Whatever, I remember when it was built, but I just don't remember the exact time frame. But there was no opposition there, so it seems to me it's obvious. We've had two people stand up here and say the alcohol presence is not the issue. Currently, as we all know, there are 3 stores where it can be purchased. The people that purchase it can take it home and drink it. They can sit in the parking lot and drink it. They can sit in your parking lot and drink it. Cain's Chapel's parking lot and drink it. Nobody really knows what El Patron is obviously wanting to have is an on-site license where it will be consumed inside. Drinking and driving is not safe. We all know that. But that's a law enforcement issue. I'm just not really sure if we use the reason of safety, how we would be in essence saying that it's less safe to drink inside a restaurant than it is to drink alcohol that's been purchased at a store and then get in a vehicle. Because again, it's already being purchased in that area. I would think that probably back years ago when the debate was being had about should alcohol be sold in Elmore County at all, I would think that would have been an issue and a topic of conversation at that point in time. But it looks to me like this is a private landowner issue. This is a parking issue. I've had parking issues with land that my family owns, and the way I've resolved it has been a security officer, posting an employee out there, a fence in one situation. In one situation, it took a tow truck, but a tow truck fixed it. And it didn't take but just a few times you towing a vehicle off and word got around. So while I can surely understand the concern for someone drinking over at El Patron and going across the street and parking, that could be taking place right now. Someone could be doing that right now. And my concern is, my question, I guess, is it the government's place to get involved in a parking issue between two landowners? And that's why I've asked the question twice. Has there been any conversation here recently about this issue? That's all I have, Chairman.
Can I say something else, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Couple of things. Number one, since you brought it up, Commissioner Mercer, I was in high school when Elmore County was dry, and they voted alcohol in, and everybody said it would ruin the county. What happened was is people quit going across the river bridge and buying alcohol and driving when they were drinking. It's what evolved out of that. But there's one other thing that I want, Jack, and I don't want for sure any hard feelings. There's something that really bothers me about this issue. Fixing to be 15 Mexican restaurants in Elmore County, because one's opening up in front of the casino where San Marcos was. Right now there's 14. So we got 14 Hispanic restaurants. Only one does not serve alcohol. I mean, that's pretty overwhelming. I mean, when you get to looking at the facts. 13 do and one doesn't. So, you know, we got to look at this thing from a practical standpoint too. And something that I did see, sounds like the emergency management sirens going on right here. And something I want to say to you, Jack, is I was listening to the radio last week, ironically. You guys have the youth. I listened to a youth minister talk on the radio. You have youth 2 hours a week, give or take a little. The Christian principles got to be instilled by the family. I mean, the church is only a portion of that. I mean, it's not the sole institution that would teach children about Christianity. So, you know, there's a lot of things to consider with this, and the only thing, from my mind, is that if it gets out of control, we got Sheriff Franklin back there, and we can get the sheriff's department out and deal with that issue. But it's hard for me to understand how we can legislate morality, because we can't do that. Neither can you guys. I mean, that's something that's got to be taught at home and at the church. So that's all I got to say, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other commissioners?
Well, Chairman, if I could just add, just so all would be aware of my position on this issue. If I owned a restaurant, I would choose not to sell alcohol. But that would be my personal decision, because I would own the restaurant and I can decide what I want to sell. Just like now, if I want to sell Red Roses, we can. If I don't want to, we don't. But sitting here, I'm not tasked with making a decision based on what my ownership of something. I'm tasked with using the powers of our government and cast my vote to use those powers, and I take that very seriously. And I will cast that vote in the direction of those people I represent in District 4, of whom I have spoken with many of them about this issue. Chairman, that's all I have, Chairman.
Thank you. We can address that. He asked if granted, how hard is it to take away? We'll, you know, I think right now the commissioners have had the opportunity to hear both those citizens and business owners who are for or in support of this, and those who are in opposition of it. That's the decision that is before us at this time. With regards to anything future, whether it is granted or is not granted, and what would take place after that, those are items that we can address as needed in the future. We will now proceed with the balance of our agenda, and during the business session is when we will vote on this issue and any others. Proceeding with old business, discuss resolution to close county offices in emergency conditions. This item was on our agenda previously. We've made the requested adjustments to the resolution, and this is important for us. We had an incident just last Friday with severe weather, and how or when we close the county offices for the safety of the citizens and the safety of our employees. So this resolution has been modified per the request from the Commissioners. Mr. Courtney, is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, that's correct.
All right, are there any additional questions or concerns regarding that? Okay, we'll proceed then with new business. We have two items with regards to proposed legislation that have some reflection on Sheriff Franklin. Well, go ahead, Sheriff Franklin, if you'll come up and just briefly address those. Those have all been provided to the Commissioners in advance.
We got it. We already got it. You got that? Yeah. Both of those? No, not this one. You have that, Matt. We got this one, though. Thank you.
In 1998 or 99, there was something that was put on the ballot. There was an amendment, and fellas, what it did, I think by a vote of the people, I think it was 52%, 48%, it did away with all supernumerary positions. I was under the impression that mine would probably dissolve at such time that I left, okay? What has happened, about the year 2000, 2001, I went and talked to some people at the state of Alabama, and they said that the way that that was worded, that does not apply to the office of sheriff. What that would do is it does away with the supernumerary position with the revenue commissioner. What this proposed legislation would do is correct that to where someone could, like other sheriffs do, participate in state retirement. I'm not looking to go anywhere, and I hope I'm here for a while, but this would allow any other sheriff, including myself, to be on the state coffers as opposed to the county coffers once they left. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the way that was written back in 98, 99. I believe the county commissioners as a whole pursued that. Myself and Mike Harper had nothing to do with that. But I was under the impression that it would affect me also. I have hence found out a couple of years later, like I said in 2000, that it has nothing to do with me. But as my salary is now under supernumerary, I'm stuck. I top out at 65%. And a lot of your sheriffs have opted to pretty much try to participate in state retirement because several of us had years of service prior to becoming sheriff. What this would do, I think in the long run, is take me off the county payroll and I would be part of the state payroll at some time in the future. Like I said, I hope that's years to come, but that's what that amendment would do. And that proposed legislation has been written, and I thought the O would suffice. That can still be, you know, bannered around and see what's in the best interest of the county commission, but, you know, that's the first that's before you.
Okay. Any comments or questions regarding that? Just by way of information, these proposals for legislation, the county commission adopts a resolution with respect to any proposed legislation. Once we do that, then the legislation goes to our legislators in the state house. So they're the ones who actually carry the weight, get the bill through, and it's put into law. So this is just the first step of that. So that is the first item. The second item, or the second proposed legislation, is an adjustment to the salary of the position of sheriff to reflect the and in comparison with many other offices across the state, sheriff's offices, to put it in a more competitive light.
I got with Mr. Breyer and tried to do my best, giving y'all some of the same numbers that the state representatives wanted years ago. I think the numbers have changed, but I think they speak for themselves. I thought it was interesting. I felt in the caseload, if you take Autauga Tallapoosa, and Coosa, and you combine all of them, their felony caseload is about what ours is. A lot of people don't realize that. We're not talking about square mileage, we're talking about just the work volume if they got felony, felony-wise workload. But I've put 67 counties before you just for y'all to peruse, to look at, and some of the other comparisons on about 12 to 13 counties there. Willing to answer any questions y'all have got, but just appreciate y'all looking at it.
Well, we appreciate you providing all this information. Are there any questions or comments from any of the commissioners regarding either of these?
The only comment I got is I appreciate what you do, Sheriff.
Well, I enjoy doing it, and I'll be honest with you, I think it's the first time in 27 years I've ever come before you and talked about myself. I told Richie I really don't like doing that, but it's all about what my guys do. And I'm just blessed and work with a good group of guys. Pleasure and a privilege to work with those guys. And I hope to keep doing it for a while. All right.
Any others? All right. Thank you very much, Sheriff. We appreciate you being here. All right. We'll proceed with the consideration of Resolution 2017-11-12 designating 2018 county depositories. This is something that we do annually to authorize the use of financial institutions in the county for or to house any monies of the county. And so the list of all of those potential county depositories is available here, and it's the same list that we used last year in terms of eligible financial institutions. Is that correct, Mr. Byer?
That is correct, sir.
Any questions regarding that? Okay, we'll proceed with the discussion of the 2018 Governmental Affairs Consulting Service Contract Renewal with Crosby Drinkard Group, LLC. The proposed contract for the 2018 calendar year. The contract currently expires December 31. This proposed contract is for the upcoming calendar year. Any comments or questions regarding that? I think that the two proposed pieces of legislation that the sheriff is referencing were all put together and coordinated by and through the Crosby Drinkard Group. Anything on that? Okay. We'll move forward with the consideration of the fiscal year 17 Homeland Security Grant Funding Agreement. Mr. Byer.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, this is a 100% Homeland Security grant that is a pass-through through the Commission. The grantee is Wetumpka Water and Sewer Board, and this will be for $45,000 of 100% grant money to go to security upgrades for their facility.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions regarding that? All right, we'll proceed with personnel notifications. Notification of resignation of Logan Burdett, Corrections Officer, effective 11/30/17. Notification of hire of Cody T. Clements, Corrections Officer, to replace L. Burdett, effective 12/11/17. Notification of hire of Stephen W. Dudley, Corrections Officer, replace R. Brown, effective 11/27/17. Notification of retirement of Sarah Edwards, Tag Clerk, effective 12/29/17. Notification of retirement of Geneva Hayes, Corrections Officer, effective 12/9/17. Notification of resignation of Justin Potts, Lieutenant, Jail, effective 12/1/17. Notification of change in classification of Anna Smirnoff, Corrections Officer, effective 11/30/17. Notification of promotion of Lona Jeannie Ward to Dispatch Supervisor, effective 11/30/17. Notification of hire of Jordan Wilson, Corrections Officer, replace C. Jenkins, effective 12/11/17. Reports to the Commission. Mr. Byer, do you have any report?
Just a couple things. On that Homeland Security grant, just to give you a little insight into what goes into that, Eric and his staff at EMA helped 8 entities apply for that grant cycle, and we only had the one that was awarded. So a lot of work went into getting that grant, and Eric and them and his staff have done a very good job helping those entities go after the money. And just as a reminder, that's 100% grant money, which when you're dealing with federal and state grants, it's not something that's common. Our financial statement was sent to you, our unaudited financial statement was sent to you the end of last week. We are making preparations to have that published December 20th. So again, if you have any questions, please let me know. A reminder, we've got our legislative delegation meeting Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock at the Highway Department. This discussion about the sheriff's legislation will be one of those items we discuss with them. We are in the process also of getting the job descriptions out to the department heads. Our goal is to have all those to them by Christmas so they can start reviewing and commenting on them. And also we're going to ask them to start looking at analyzing suggested pay grades and things of that nature, so they have an opportunity to give input on that based on their knowledge of their sector of expertise. We're still working on gathering data for the collections department and being able to provide some answers to your questions on that. I've been working with Revenue Commissioner Macon on that. We also began some cyber training in the last few weeks. Sam has been testing people out, and we've been working with the department heads to make sure that we're as prepared as we can be for any kind of malware attack, or we don't want to have to use a Bitcoin or anything like that anytime soon. So he's been working on that, and we actually completed some training this week with a number of people that failed the first test and are getting some additional training, and then there's another round about to go out to all employees. I had the opportunity to attend the ACC Legislative Conference with many of you, and then the NACO Board of Directors meeting. Regardless of whether you're at the state or national level, infrastructure, broadband, the opioid crisis, those are recurring things that we continue to hear, and we'll continue to discuss those. Tax reform was a big one that we talked about at the NACO Board of Directors as well, and that was more of how that shapes the coming congressional session, what that means, what happens if it passes, what happens if it doesn't, that kind of stuff. So, Mr. Chairman, the only other thing is I'd just like to say that I think the response to the winter weather event went very well this past week. I think I've talked to each and every one of you, and I think the way that the county employees and public safety and the fire departments responded we're pretty typical of what you see in Elmore County, which means it was very good, and I appreciate all the support, and hopefully we got plenty of communication out to you and the residents ongoing. I'd like to say Eric and his EMA staff and the highway department did an excellent job, Luke and company, and to have our normal events going on and be separated like we were and be able to communicate, I think that just speaks better to the coordination. So hopefully y'all had the same experience and the same thoughts. So, Mr. Chairman, that's all I have in the way of a report. Do y'all have any questions of me?
Thank you. Anything? All right, we'll proceed with reports from the commission. We'll begin with Commissioner Holt.
I'd like to say I appreciate all of y'all being here tonight. I wish we had this many every time we met. I mean, it'd be great if we did. And I want to thank you, Katrina, if I can say it, it's Katrina instead of Ms. Mitchell. We appreciate what you do with these young people, and because they're going to be the future leaders of our country and our county. So we appreciate that. I would also like to say, as Richie did, I appreciate what EMA and the Highway Department did this past weekend, because in my area we had 5.5 inches of snow. So we had a lot of snow and trees, as you well know, Eric, limbs and so forth. So I appreciate what all of you guys did. The other thing I'd like to say is I went with two of my fellow commissioners to Muscle Shoals, and I thought it was a very worthwhile conference, and I really learned some things and enjoyed it, and I appreciate the opportunity to go. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Daughtry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to express my sincere appreciation to the Sheriff's Department, the EMA Department, the Highway Department, and particularly as Mr. Byers spoke of, these volunteer fire departments who a lot of times we tend to take for granted. I had one volunteer fire department in North Elmore County in my district that told me within a 2-day period they pulled 26 vehicles back onto the road that had slid off the road and assisted motorists. So it's just amazing what our volunteer fire departments do in this county and how dedicated they are. And I pray that we never take them for granted, and every time you see a volunteer fire department, please tell them thank you. Thank you to the leadership, youth, for coming tonight, and Ms. Mitchell for all you do on a continual basis, and thank all of you for coming. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Mercer.
Thank you, Chairman. I also want to say to our EMA director, we appreciate what y'all do. Mr. Byer, we appreciate what you do. If one point in time, I know this weekend when we were getting all the information coming to us, I thought to myself, I thought Richie was out of town, but you were. And so that did not stop anything, hinder anything, and that's because I feel as if we have a pretty good structure by which we handle situations this past weekend. Many people may not realize when we have a storm event that comes through the county like that, there are a lot of people involved in the response, and so I appreciate that. As Commissioner Hope mentioned, I was one of the people that went to the legislative conference for the Association of County Commissioners of Alabama. I have had the honor of being chosen as the representative to the Association for Legislative Issues. I can report to you that probably the biggest thing that was discussed there in the lobby amongst commissioners when we were talking in private from other counties is broadband. Believe it or not, I'm sure y'all, any of y'all that have been here, y'all hear me talk about broadband from this seat, on my blog post in the media. We're not the only one. I would venture to say that that's probably going to be top priority for many of our legislators. I know we have heard from many of the agencies that we deal with that participate in grant funding dollars coming to the locals. That's one of their biggest issues that they have had to deal with, or they are going to be dealing with. So just know that it is being discussed on every level, and this commission is working to do everything we can to improve the situation with the abilities that we have to do so. That's all I have, Chairman.
All right. Thank you. Commissioner Reeves.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to say I thank each and every one of the citizens for coming out tonight to watch your county government in action. And I especially thank you, Ms. Mitchell, for bringing the young people here to see your county commission at work. And you can grade it, like I said, the chairman said you can make a grade. Look at the things we do, the things we listen to. And we got to take the concern of every citizen and weigh that against what y'all need. And I hope God gives us the vision and the wisdom to do that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I echo my fellow commissioners in gratitude to all of you for being here tonight. A couple things I'd like to report and remind. I'm very proud of the Wetumpka High School football team and their success in making it to the state championship. Unfortunately, they fell a little bit short, but hopefully you'll have an opportunity to interact with them or the coaches or anyone else involved with the school and express your congratulations to them for their accomplishments. Me being right here in Wetumpka and this being my district and being a business owner in the downtown area, it's amazing to see what youth can do to a community and bringing a community together. And we witnessed that over the last 5 or 6 weeks in this playoff run for the football team, and I couldn't be more proud. Also would like to remind everyone that tomorrow is a very important day to get out and vote. I hope all of you will take the opportunity to do that and encourage your fellow citizens, neighbors, friends, church members, whoever it may be. We want to get everybody out to the polls. This is a very important election. It does affect us as a county, who our senator is and our representation at the national level. So, I would encourage you to encourage everyone you know and make sure that you're looking yourself in the mirror and you're accountable also for that right that you have to get out and vote. So let's all do that and have a great turnout in Elmore County. I think that obviously these types of special elections oftentimes have low turnouts, but I think that recently we were in the low 20% of registered voters that got out to vote, and I'm hoping that we can improve upon that here in Elmore County. So please do that. The polls are open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. tomorrow. And lastly, to the young people here, I appreciate you being here. I hope that you will share your experiences with those around you that you go to class with at school. Share it with your parents tonight. Your parents may not be here. You can go home. You know more than they do right now. So take advantage of that. Go home. Talk to your parents about what you witnessed tonight. And those are meaningful conversations. That's the kind of thing that we hope that you're talking about in your home, and it will prepare you for life's challenges in the future. We'll proceed now with the important calendar dates. Ms. Kim?
Wednesday, December 13th is the legislative delegation meeting at 10 a.m. and the Highway Department Christmas luncheon will be right afterwards at 11:30. Thursday, December 14th is the employee Christmas breakfast from 7:30 to 9 a.m. The courthouse will be closed in observance of Christmas Friday, December 22nd and Monday, December 25th. Monday, January 1st, the courthouse is closed in observance of New Year's Day. Monday, January 8th is our next commission meeting at 5 p.m. with the business meeting following. And Tuesday, January 9th is the Alabama legislative session convenes. And one other to throw out there, countywide cleanup was scheduled for last Saturday, but it has been moved to this Saturday, the 16th, from 9 to 1, and the rotating location is at the Cusata Post Office.
All right. Thank you. We will reconvene in a few minutes. All right, we'd like to call this meeting to order. We'll begin the Elmore County Commission business meeting dated Monday, December 11, 2017. I'd like to invite Commissioner Mercer to offer the invocation, following which Commissioner Reeves will lead us all in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for letting us be here tonight, Lord. We thank you for giving us safe travels, Lord. We thank you for the country we live in. We ask that you be with our citizens and of this state as we cast our vote tomorrow, Lord. We just ask that you just give us guidance and direction. Father, we thank you for all your many blessings. As this is your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ms. Kim, will you please call roll?
Commissioner Holt?
Here.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Here.
Chairman Stubbs?
Here.
Commissioner Mercer?
Here.
Commissioner Reeves?
Here.
All right, we'll proceed with our regular business. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the November 27th, 2017 Commission meeting as presented during the work session?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes. Is there a motion to approve the memorandum of warrants for the period of November 18, 2017 through December 4, 2017?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes. Is there a motion to approve or deny a 020 restaurant retail liquor license application by El Patron Mexican Grill, LLC for El Patron Mexican Grill, 65 Lightwood Road, Deatsville, Alabama, 36022?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes. All right, we'll proceed now with our old business. Is there a motion to approve the resolution to close county offices in emergency conditions?
I make a motion.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes. All right, proceeding now to new business. Is there a motion to approve the sheriff's proposed legislation as presented in the work session?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes. All right, proceeding now, is there a motion to approve Resolution 2017-1112 designating the 2018 county depositories?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes. Is there a motion to approve the 2018 Governmental Affairs Consulting Service Contract Renewal with Crosby Drinker Group, LLC?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Studd?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve the fiscal year 17 Homeland Security Grant Funding Agreement?
Motion approved.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Studd?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Proceeding with personnel notification, notification of resignation of Logan Burdette, Corrections Officer, effective 11/30/17. Notification of hire of Cody T. Clements, Corrections Officer, replace L. Burdette, effective 12/11/17. Notification of hire of Stephen W. Dudley, Corrections Officer, replace R. Brown, effective 11/27/17. Notification of retirement of Sarah Edwards, Tag Clerk, effective 12/29/17. Notification of retirement of Geneva Hayes, Corrections Officer, effective 12/9/17. Notification of resignation of Justin Potts, Lieutenant, Jail, effective 12/1/17. Notification of change of classification of Anna Smirnoff, Corrections Officer, effective 11/30/17. Notification of promotion of Lona Jeannie Ward to Dispatch Supervisor, effective 11/30/17. Notification of hire of Jordan Wilson, Corrections Officer, replace C. Jenkins, effective 12/11/17. Any additional reports to the Commission?
No, sir.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Studd?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Meeting adjourned.